Hi, my name is Jeff, and I'm a licensed occupational therapist practicing in the United States who goes by the moniker OTDUDE. If you're new to my content, be sure to check out the video description after watching this video for more of my free resources. Besides subscribing to this channel, I also have a free newsletter, an OT podcast, and much more OT content, so check that out. So this video will go over why we bother doing occupations in the first place with our clients. All right, let's get functional. So by now, you should be familiar with what occupations are, right? But the question is why? Why occupation? What's the big deal with it? And why should we help clients to get back to doing their occupations in the first place? Well, if you have seen my video on occupations as a means versus ends, you learned how occupation can be used both as a process and as an end goal. Similarly, the reason why we as occupational therapists use occupations is that they can be very useful tools for therapy. For example, having a client do their ADLs, such as brushing their teeth at the sink, is not only functional, but this therapy itself is a tool to help reach the end goal of being independent with brushing one's teeth. So the first reason why we do occupation for OT is for clients to feel a result or an end goal or an outcome or something that terminates. This could be for our clients to do, say, an ADL, like feeding themselves an entire meal, donning clothes, using the toilet, or even sexual activity like sexual participation. The same goes for IADLs as well. Washing their car, doing their dirty clothes and their laundry, not my favorite task really. Paying the bills, doing the dishes, loading up the dishwasher, like my recent video, like how I taught you guys how I did it. Or even rest and sleep, like being able to get the end result of a good night's sleep. Wouldn't we all like that these days? Or school-related as an occupation like completing a school assignment, going back to school, or for employment purposes, being able to complete a specific work responsibility like, I don't know, packing a shipping box like at the assembly line for an Amazon worker or something. So we as all humans all work towards end goals, right? Or an end result. So allowing clients to achieve and feel their results and see the results is useful because they can then transfer these set of skills to other end goals as well. And that's the cool part. So the example of the Amazon worker would be like, for example, being able to wrap like a gift for a present for Christmas or something. So in a way, we as occupational therapists are kind of trying to make our jobs obsolete when we work with clients. We help them to do the things that they want to do that are meaningful to them so that they can graduate and not need us as therapists anymore. Be able to reach their end goals and transfer their skills to other things as well. The second concept of why occupation is that of mastery. Have you ever learned something or practiced something that made you master it? Maybe it's learning to play an instrument. Yeah, I don't know how to play guitar. Or a sport. Or make a favorite recipe or baking something. Maybe you're really good at doing your makeup or whatever. You go from being a beginner to a novice to a semi-pro to a pro, maybe even get paid to do it, right? So how did you feel when you were like a noob and like a beginner and sucked at doing that one thing? Did you feel like quitting? Most of us probably did, right? After you have mastered the skill, did you feel much better about yourself? Proud, confident, successful, on top of the world? Most likely, right? The same concept of mastery applies to occupations for our clients. Imagine not being able to feed yourself. We probably take the skill of feeding ourselves for granted, but it's something that we have all mastered as adults anyways, until we may have a cognitive, physical, mental disability. Well, imagine having a family member or a friend, or even more realistically, in most common cases, having a stranger like a care partner, CNA, or a staff member feeding you. How would that make you feel? Now imagine being able to practice and remaster that skill of like feeding yourself and doing it like after a stroke or something. You regain your mastery and you feel more empowered. No longer feel dependent on someone for help. The last concept of why occupation is so cool is that of instant feedback. Well, have you ever had a coach or a mentor or a tutor or a teacher or family member provide you immediate feedback with something, like playing an instrument again, a sport, doing a homework assignment, art, a specific skill, driving, whatever? It's a very helpful thing, right? Imagine how much harder it is to like practice learning driving yourself like the first day without a driving instructor and doing it in isolation, right? Probably end up not doing really well. And that's because you don't know if you're doing things correctly and if you're on the right track and you're not getting any external feedback. When we do things like occupational therapy with our clients, we as occupational therapists have the ability, and we should be, providing immediate feedback ourselves externally to the client. In generally most of the cases anyways. But one thing to note is that feedback isn't always external, like the therapist providing feedback to the client, right? Because you also get feedback from doing a task itself. And that's also very, very helpful. Imagine like playing an instrument again, right? If you play the piano by yourself, you aren't really good at it and you suck. You hear yourself like hitting the wrong keys and it's just like out of rhythm. Well, maybe even like a flute or something, right? Like you can definitely get instant feedback and you know you're not doing it so well yourself. Or maybe you have recorded yourself like on a MIDI keyboard or something, right? The same goes for occupations as well. ADLs, like when you miss the toothbrush and bringing it to your face and you hit like your face instead of your mouth on target for coordination. Or IADLs, like when you make a mistake with sequencing some steps for like meal preparation for making a simple sandwich, or any other occupation for that matter. So in a way, occupation as a therapy is kind of cool because it provides two kinds of immediate feedback. The intrinsic kind that you yourself notice from your self-awareness of when you're doing the activity, like when you're being mindful and mindfulness, or as mentioned, externally, like extrinsically, what from the therapist providing feedback directly to the client. And note that this can also be either verbal feedback or nonverbal too, right? Doesn't always have to be verbal like cues or something. And the idea of like the OT providing feedback, like instant feedback, is especially important in cases of cognitive impairment, such as with TBI, traumatic brain injury. Why? Because these types of clients often have poor self-awareness of their deficits. They may even be in denial, like psychosocially. So without an OT, then they can engage in an occupation all that they want, but they may be overestimating their abilities and they might not even be doing things safely because they're overestimating, say, their balance or their ability to make judgment calls, like holding a knife like safely or something. I don't know. So all in all, OT is cool. And what we do as occupational therapists is cool because we provide that holistic client-centered like therapy basically with our clients to maximize their meaningful occupations, to allow them to like learn much faster through this instant feedback with their engagement in occupations. So in summary, the three reasons that I learned in school and what I thought of immediately that come to mind anyways, why occupation is so useful as a tool is because one, it allows them to reach the clients to reach an end goal. Two, for them to feel a sense of mastery. And three, to allow them to get instant feedback. Now my homework for you is to think about other types of therapy or the specific types of interventions that we deliver. One-on-one therapy with clients, group therapy, and 3 virtual therapies, such as in the cases of like COVID-19. How are these each individual types of therapy advantageous or disadvantageous to our clients when it comes to these concepts of like mastery and end goal and what was the other one? Instant feedback. So let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.